What's up, garden friends? Jeff here at Tropical Plant Party. How's everybody doing? Hope you're good. I am great. For starters, the waterfall is extra noisy today. I apologize. The water level's low because I just watered and it takes a long time to refill. So hopefully we can just accept that and move forward. It's okay. I want to do a spotlight here on the Parlor Palm. This is a very common palm, very common plant, and I was thinking, you know, I should probably talk a little bit more about plants that are all over the place, plants that are easy to find, sold commonly, and things that everybody may have around. Now, really, this plant is so common, I see them at the grocery stores, at Walmarts and Target. I mean, they sell these guys everywhere, for good reason. Let's dive into that. The Parlour Palm, or Chamaedorea Elegans. Another name for this is the Neanthe Bella. So, Chamaedorea Elegans, Parlour Palm, or Neanthe Bella. Neanthe Bella is much more common. It's Neanthe Bella. Chamaedorea, well, that comes from the Greek word chami, which means on the ground, and dorea, meaning a gift, as the fruits are very easy to get to since it's a low-growing plant. Native in the rainforest from southeastern Mexico to the more northern parts of Guatemala. You'll find these in the rainforest. These guys love water. They only get a few feet tall. And this is actually a small, compact, normally single-trunked palm. Now, I am told where this is winter hardy, which is zones 10 and 11. I don't know why it wouldn't go above 11. But in those zones that these can reach up to 5 to 6 feet tall in shady areas of the landscape. Growing inside, them getting taller than 4 feet is not very common. And I have rarely seen any of these over 2.5 feet tall. That's about, 30 inches. But it happens. I just don't see it that often. Now, one of the great things about these guys is their dense, compact shape. These are actually one of the palms that are used very often in the floral industry, which isn't actually a great thing because there's some issues in the wild with that, but where they're being grown commercially for that, that's fine. You may recognize these fronds from floral arrangements. See them often in arrangements in general from florists because they're cheap. The growers just toss some seeds in a pot and they take off. This one has 3 clumps in it that I'm sure were just thrown in here individually. I doubt that they're rooted together. And sometimes, see, there's still seeds sprouting. Right here, there's still some seeds sprouting in there. And sometimes you can even still find bits and pieces of the seeds. They're easy to propagate. And fairly easy to grow, as long as you give them their basic needs. Now, based on what I just told you, and I've said in other videos in the past, that one of the best ways to know how to grow your plant is to look at where it grows in the wild. And like I just said, these grow in the rainforest, and they only get a few feet tall. So what does that tell us? Well, the rainforest has a very dense canopy. Where you have a dense canopy, you have a lot of shade. My lighting's odd, but there's the shade over there. So, on the forest floor is where you're going to find these. They don't need a lot of sun. You're not going to get a lot of sun if you're growing on the forest floor in the rainforest. In the house, these actually will do fairly well in a very dimly lit room. If you put them in full sun, you'll probably bleach out the leaves and scorch them. Yeah, the best growth you're going to get from these guys is going to come from a more wet and dark location. Or moist, shady, I should say. Protect them from strong winds because the leaves will desiccate. Or you can use an anti-transparent, which is in yesterday's video. Help them hold in their moisture a little bit in their leaves, but they have very, very thin leaves. Paper thin, so the moisture can just blow right out of them if they're in a windy location. Since they grow on the forest floor in that shade, that's also an area that's more protected from extreme shifts. Now, you don't have the high temperature fluctuations you're going to have up in the canopy where the air is moving a little bit more. But, there's still plenty of air fluctuations in the rainforest. But they adapt a little bit better to the constant temperatures you find indoors. I usually give these guys a potting mix that has a fair amount of peat in it because that peat holds in the water. And if you don't like to use peat, sometimes I don't. There are lots of other options out there. Cocoa coir works really well. In fact, I've actually been switching to coconut coir with a lot of what I've been doing because of some environmental issues with using peat. Just like your standard houseplant, I would fertilize them once a month, but maybe not so much in wintertime. Just let them chill a little bit. And these guys like water. Do not let them dry out for very long. I have seen people plant these directly into water before. a very long time ago when I was a kid, people even put them in their fish tanks. They need air moving around their leaves. Nevertheless, when you pot them up, put a hole in the bottom just to be safe. They're just easy to work with and easy to take care of. These don't have any specific insect or pest problems, but just like anything in the house, you want to watch out for spider mites and scale and mealybugs. The nice thing about these is they're small enough that they're fairly easy to wipe down with a horticultural oil if need be. Now for the fun part. Let's get crafty and pot one of these guys up. I have this cool little bucket I picked up from my local nursery. I went ahead and I poked a small hole in the bottom. I would recommend poking a larger hole than that. I was just kind of in a hurry. But I'm just going to go ahead and go through and do something really quick and easy. Go ahead, get some dirt in there, have some rocks on the bottom or something like that, charcoal. Anytime you have a plant that really is moisture loving, using charcoal on the bottom is a good idea just because it helps keep away the rot a little bit better. Okay, now that I have my plant centered, it's falling over, that's alright. I'm going to go ahead and fill that back in, just like so, until it's full. Get that root tucked down in there. Alright, you see this white line in here? Well, that's typically where you want your dirt to be. These guys were seeded very deep in their soil, much deeper than they need to be, but I don't want to shock it by changing the depth right at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and try and cover it up most of the way. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw some seashells in here. Ideally, I wanted to do something where I actually use sand and use some of those little glass critters or fairy garden decorations. But can't find my sand and don't have any fairy garden decorations laying around, so this will have to do for now. Alright, and there we go. Got that nice and cleaned up. And I think it's looking pretty cute. Like I said, I wish I had just regular sand. I do somewhere. And some, like, beach-type accessories to put in here, fairy garden things. Maybe if I stumble across those, then I will do that in this weekend's vlog. But for now, I think that's pretty cute. And this was so quick and easy. And what an awesome gift this would make, too, for someone. Write out some instructions for it. Don't give it too much light. And don't worry about overwatering it as long as there's a hole in the bottom. I mean, it really just doesn't get much easier than that. Looking pretty flashy. Oh, there's a couple others I threw together I want to show you. Hold on. How about some magnet planters? Quick, easy. You get mine at Lowe's when they go on clearance. Because, you know, they sell these things in their garden department. And then they don't get cared for properly and the plants die. And I think these were 25 cents a piece. And then you throw that Parlor Palm in there. Your Neanthe Bella. Beautiful. Now, there's no holes in the bottom of these, so if you give these to someone, you make sure to tell them to water them very, very, very lightly, but not to let the soil dry out too much. So these are a little bit more complicated. And since they're tiny, you need to, make sure they know that this is very temporary, very decorative. These will outgrow these pots quickly. But for the time being, that's pretty stinking cute. But alright, okay, that was fun. That's going to wrap things up for today's video. Hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what's going on in your garden, your experience with these. Have you guys seen any full-grown ones that are 5 to 6 feet tall? I would love to see that, because these are pretty cute when they're 2.5 feet tall and they have the ringed trunks on them. They're adorable, so I can only imagine at 5 to 6 feet tall. Follow me on Snapchat, Trop Plant Party, Instagram, Tropical Plant Party, and Twitter, Tropical Plant JC. I'm on Twitter more than anything else. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day, and as always, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.